The growing situation at the border is forcing the Biden administration to open emergency shelters. From California to across Texas, Houston is the latest city to house undocumented children from the border. Here's a look at where those emergency shelters are popping up. One in San Diego, but the rest are in Texas, including the latest right here in Houston. Melissa Correa is live in North Houston with a closer look at the volunteers now helping. Mel?
Hey there, Mia. The National Association of Christian Churches is now racing to stand up a shelter. We don't know if it's going to be inside this warehouse facility, but I can tell you there's been action in and out of this building all day. The nonprofit spent the last 15 years responding to natural disasters. Its latest assignment, the humanitarian crisis along the border. 18-wheelers are moving in and out of the NACC's disaster response warehouse. We can't tell what's going or coming. So far, no comment from the organization. But the federal government confirms the NACC will receive at least 500 children as soon as the emergency shelter is ready to go. The Houston nonprofits agreed to provide sleeping quarters, meals, toiletries, laundry, and medical services for the children who illegally crossed into the U.S. without their parents. Border Patrol agents are overwhelmed. The federal government doesn't have enough space to care for the children who have to stay in federal custody until they're released to a relative or sponsor here in the U.S. The NACC will be the 10th emergency shelter to open within the last 6 weeks. The feds consider the Houston site temporary, though KHOU cannot get anyone with the Biden administration or NACC to answer questions about the setup, COVID protocols, or background checks for volunteers. We know that the NACC will not be caring for these hundreds of children alone. Catholic Charities and the Red Cross will likely be tapped in to help. But I can tell you, this site is gaining traction, getting a lot of attention. An immigrant rights group, FIEL, has shown up within the last 30 minutes, hoping to get more information from the NACC. Mia, it's a balancing act because you're talking about children who are now in a foreign country without their parents. So privacy is in order, but Mia, at the same time, we need transparency and information about what's going to be happening inside that shelter.
We have to do right by children regardless, always. Melissa Correa, thank you.